I think they're definitely going to be very aware of the potential for a poke composition. On BLG side, like we mentioned, a lot of focus onto early games into the bot side, and BLG definitely know that Zoe might be a problem. They're going to take it away. They're also going to put away Iboy's Kaisa and the Samira being taken off the table as well. In the meantime, we see Mark's Leona, always a targeted ban whenever you're going up against him. And then once more, Zeka's Twisted Fate being taken off the table. A Lilia first pick for Rare Adam, while BLG take away the Bambi counter in the Graves. How do you feel about this this jungle trade so far?
I actually don't think the Graves is, too much of a counter against the Lilia. Obviously, again, we know that Graves doesn't have the MR on his true grit. Lilia does outpace him in terms of clear. And overall, the thing I really like about Lilia right now is just how diverse you can be with her build, whether going for something like the Moonstone, or if you want to go more damage, you go with the Liandry's Anguish, to where we haven't really seen Graves working out all too well in the LPL. And when you were talking about this, it feels a lot of the time, without having that hard, maybe like double frontline, something like an Ornn Leona, it's very hard for Graves to be able to do what he wants in a lot of these kind of 5v5 front-to-back setups.
Yeah, we have seen the Graves just fall on the wayside. Very far under 500 right now in the win rate. For Rare Adam, they are going to take away the Renekton. Just a very strong blind pick in general. And they also have another pick to potentially fill out the mid lane. We have been seeing a lot of blind picks coming out from Fofo. He does like one of those strong champions, maybe the Syndra, maybe the Zoe, as we have seen in the past here. But still hovering around, keeping his options open right here. It is going to be the Xayah against the Jhin. This is a pretty interesting matchup.
Yeah, Xayah does not fare too well early on at all. We've actually primarily seen Xayah picked up only into the Kaisa matchup. You do struggle in a lot of other lanes. I think you can justify it when you're facing more of a full dive composition, but BLG aren't drafting that at all. BLG have a lot of range they can play with, and I think Iboy's going to have quite a hard time in this game.
Yeah, definitely a lot of question marks onto that one. BLG going into the ban phase, they are going to take away the Lovers duo, making sure Rakan doesn't go onto Hong. And we have seen Han do very, very well on these engaged champions, so probably more support bans incoming going into that direction. But BLG still keeping their options open in the top lane. What do you want to see out of BLG rounding out their front line?
For BLG, I don't even necessarily feel like you need to index into a frontline top laner. If you do want to go with the pseudo kind of frontline, I think you go with something like a Gnar. Or the other thing I'd love to see is the Jace coming out as well, just for the fact that I think you just keep indexing into picking more range. RA right now don't have any hard engage. They don't really have a reliable way to get on top of you. Xayah is very susceptible to poke. Lilia as well. It's going to be quite an awkward time for RA in the mid game when you are fighting over mid wave for who can get on the objective first, if BLG just keep picking more long range.
It definitely seems like that's the way they're going to be going for. And it's just really interesting to see how RA are going to round out this draft. You and me both feel like they're showing their cards a little bit too early here. BLG going to go with a flex pick. We have seen Mark actually play 3 games of Gragas already. He's been doing great things in the lane with it. It's probably our strongest laning Gragas that we've seen in the split so far. So definitely keeping their options open.
Yeah, Gragas overall is just a pretty strong laning support in general. Obviously, you have very low cooldowns. You have the range coming out from your barrels. So I do expect BLG to keep it bot lane, even though it is obviously a flex. We haven't seen BiuBiu pick it up at all. And now for RA, I think we need to see more hard engage tools coming in from their composition. So going straight for that Nautilus, not a champion we see all that much. And now in terms of mid laner, there aren't too many things that really go well up against that Syndra other than, the Zoe, the Echo. Azir would be a good answer. You obviously don't win in the early 1v1, but you can at least get Prio and set up for the Lilia. But, ooh, this might actually be a lot better, Clement. You have the AP jungler, you can have the mixed damage, and we've set up the 2v2 is what matters.
But they don't go for it in the very end. It's going to go back into the stock and standard Orianna. I know you're disappointed right here, Lyric, but sorry, it's just going to be about balls in the middle lane. What do you want to see out of BLG for their final pick? This looks like potentially a top laner or a support.
I still think you just go with a ranged top laner. I think bringing out something along the lines of, again, you want to go Gnar, you do have a strong matchup, will be very action-packed on the top side. Your bot lane's very safe, but instead they want to pull out the Alistar themselves. The nice thing about the Alistar is that we set up RA don't have that much hard engage, So even having the bit of disengage from Alistar feels like it can really stop RA's comp from being able to get onto the likes of both Zeka and Aiinmg. And overall, I would say I favor BLG's draft a lot more. It seems more cohesive. It's good into what RA have picked. And RA just have, I'd say, a jumbled mismatch of, okay, we can see they want to play around Cube on the top side, but their mid and bot lane a bit too scaling oriented. And again, I feel like they're really going to struggle up against the Syndra and the Jhin.
I totally agree with you. I just don't see what Arya are trying to do with this draft. It seems like, they're picking whatever champions that they're individually really strong on, but doesn't really mesh into anything. And I think BLG right here, they do have that composition, which is a little bit more standard, I would say. They do have the range advantage, like you were talking about, and the disengage. Just looking at the lanes as well, which lanes do you think are going to be focused on for the early game, and which lanes do you think have more priority coming into this matchup?
I think we're definitely going to see topside be heavily focused. Again, the fact that that's really the only kind of heavy trading lane coming out from RA's side with that Renekton means that Leyan has to play more around that side of the map. I feel like BLG have options. BLG can really look to any of the 3 lanes to set up ganks, right? We have Syndra Graves on their side, so very easy if they want to try and blow a flash or potentially a cleanse out from the side of Fofo. You have some good setup in the bot lane. We know Jin's very good in early skirmishing. I think you prefer to leave your Gragas on an island, but you always could look for a counter gank if, the enemy side does go a bit too far overextended.
And also
so
a lot of pick... Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, Clement, so what we're saying is, again, it feels a bit too easy for BLG with the amount of options they have in this early game.
I totally agree with you. It felt like Fofo was just being shut down in the drafting phase right here. We could see him having a lot of hesitation and only locking the Orianna in the last second. That wasn't the case with any other of the picks coming out from Rare Adam. So just judging by that, I think they were struggling at the very end to kind of decide where they wanted to go with their composition. And they just went with something that feels safe but doesn't necessarily have an outstanding winning point against BLG here. We are going to take a look at the level 1s straight off the bat. Today there is no live audience due to some complications with the pandemic going on in Shanghai, so there will be no Gyos. That means more talking time for you and me though, so we're just going to dive straight into this one. We are going to see some deep wards being placed down for Rare Adam. They are going to start out where Meteor starts. How do you think they can use this to their advantage?
For RA, I actually don't... Ooh, we do get a replay though.
Yeah, there was a cheeky level 1 being thrown in right here. Flashes burned coming in from Mark. Do they get the level 1 kill? They actually do find a kill straight onto Iboy. Iboy not really a stranger to death right there, but BLG having a very strong advantage coming out the gates.
Still, both junglers gonna kind of go with the obvious route of we see Meteor pathing towards his bot side. We talked about how both his bottom and mid lane should be very strong. Leyan shouldn't be able to contest anything on the bot half of the map, so he himself is just going to full clear towards top. And we should have, I'd say, a pretty slow kind of first 4 minutes of the game.
Just taking a look at the rune choices right here, pretty much everything is standard, but Leyan is going to go for the Dark Harvest. We have been seeing a lot more of the Lilias trend towards the Dark Harvest as compared to the Phase Rush. And, that's something I find a little bit interesting, but Lyric, maybe you can walk us through the differences here in the rune choices.
I think though, we actually have Leyan.
Oh, going for that level 3 bottom clear gank, but Zeka is going to find a Scatter the Weak and be able to walk away from this one.
Yeah, so just trying to put a bit of early pressure down mid since Zeka is a bit overextended, still not really in harm's way as Syndra. That's one of the benefits of, we're just talking about Phase Rush on Lilia, but Phase Rush on your mid laners, right? You just have so much mobility to dodge a lot of these ganks. But going back to the Lilia point, I'm actually not too big of a fan of the Dark Harvest, especially when you're talking about this composition where we're saying, hey, BLG can play from a range. They could probably kite out this Lilia despite the fact her having the movement speed already in her passive. Just going to have more burst damage and obviously a bit more scaling going in, so I feel like that's trending us going towards that Liandry's Anguish or a more damage-oriented route. But I don't see how Leyan gets onto any priority targets on the side of BLG.
Yeah, we typically do think of Lilia as sort of a kiting champion. She's great against multi-melee compositions, but this is the complete opposite of what BLG has really drafted here. As you were mentioning, a lot of range champions. Only Alistar are the ones susceptible to being kited away. And just taking a look at the bot lane right here, Hong trying to hold on to that minion wave, making sure it doesn't go into the tower. He is going to complete that job. Does take a little bit of damage for it, but everything is still okay right here, and we do see some very heavy trading in the early phases. Somewhat to be expected with this Syndrome matchup, and Fofo going very far below half health.
But we do see Leyan actually looking to make a play on mid again.
Oh, he's coming in, does have the pound stacks here. He does find the E onto Zeka. Zeka has no mana, is going to give over a stack of the Dark Harvest to Leyan, but he is going to be able to walk away with his life intact.
Still, it's going to give Fofo a bit of breathing room to kind of clear this wave and start to look for a reset. We hit on earlier before the game that we expected this to be a very mid-jungle centric game, and we've at least been seeing a lot of that coming out from RA's side. Touching back on kind of win conditions in drafts, I feel like the silver lining for RA is the fact that, sure, BLG have this comp that can play from range, they have disengage, they have more pick tools, but we've seen BLG flop with this exact composition many times before already.
BLG really isn't the team that likes to play disengage. However, a gank coming into the bottom side, Leyan going in, Mark looking like he's going to have to sacrifice his life, does give over a Dark Harvest stack. Hong is the one to pick up the finishing kill. Not the greatest of kill distribution, but hey, you take whatever you can get in that situation, and Rare Adam are going to equalize the kill score on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, we see Leyan giving up his Raptors just to look for that straight bot side gank. We saw the BLG wave state was in a pretty unfavorable position, especially with Meteor's pathing. He had just recalled to re-clear his top side camp, so again, not quite sure why BLG couldn't get that wave under turret in an earlier rotation, but hey, at least BLG will be able to take an objective off of this.
Nice consolation prize for them, and I just want to say, Hang has been on fire in this last couple of series. Every time I've watched him, he's always landing the hooks. He's always in great coordination with his jungler. He definitely is someone to watch in this matchup, and I think it's one of the stronger points that Rare Adam does have over BLG support and Mark.
Yeah, Hong has been very active on the map. We saw glimpses of what this guy could be in 2020, but he obviously wasn't even the full starter. Kind of got brought in after they decided Maestro just wasn't the right fit for the team. Was a bit disappointing because it was right after Maestro solo killed the jungler in Junja. It was really hilarious. I loved watching it, but point is, Hong has been the answer, and you don't really need to play with Iboy, as Mark just kind of saying hello.
Yeah, trying to get some surprise factor going down there. They do have a level advantage, and they're going in onto Hong. Maybe this is going to be the caster's curse, but Iboy will find a great blade caller as he takes down Mark to below half HP. BLG did have the gank incoming, but unfortunately wasn't able to really sync up the crowd control here. And meanwhile, on the top side, we might be seeing some counter action as Leyan does find his Chilling Smite. He is going to tag BiuBiu with it, but doesn't look like the dive is going to come through just yet.
Yep, and we need to remember, Gragas is a pretty difficult champion to dive just with all the crowd control and displacement you have. You body slam, you throw out the cast, you send them in two different directions. It's very hard to actually get that commit down. We also see this new Gragas build being brought out once again, right? Where it is kind of Tear of the Goddess into full tank. So I'm going to pause because BLG might just go for the dive here.
Meteor coming in with the red buff. He does tag Iboy with the end of the line as well. Forces out the flash, and it does look like some easy platings for BLG. They're going to take 160 gold back into the bank. However, Hong does show up here, and he is going to equalize the situation. So a strong win on the bottom side for BLG. But Leyan, they're going to try to equalize it here. He does have the ultimate. He's looking for the Swirl Seed. He does have the potential sleep coming in. Cube is walking up to the tower, but they do decide better of it. BiuBiu already walking pretty far back into his own lane. This is not going to be a kill, and not going to be a turret plating either. So, you know, I would have to give this one to BLG so far in the early game.
And had they been able to get that wave in quicker, that feels like your only potential opportunity to dive the Gragas. You know, land that Swirl Seed, put down the sleep, and then hopefully your burst combo from both champions can pretty much just one-shot him before he can throw out any of that CC or displacement. But we actually see BLG roaming their whole team to topside.
Yeah, Meteor incoming with Zeka. They do find a great explosive cast, instantly forces the flash out of Cube. He goes back to safety, and this looks like a potential Herald play incoming. It is the 8-minute 30 mark. the support has shown into the mid lane, and everyone is rotating towards that Herald. This is what you watch the LPL for. This is our bloodthirsty region. The fight is about to commence here. The wave is getting shoved in for the side of BLG. They're already going to start this one up, and it is Rare Adam's turn to answer right here. Can they actually find the positioning? Hong tries for it, but doesn't find the hook just yet. It looks like a disengage for the side of BLG. They do get the flash here, but they know that all the members on Rare Adam's side are already in position, so they're not going to chance this one just yet. A couple more waves being shoved in, but it doesn't look like either side is going to relent.
I'm really surprised BLG didn't commit to that more heavily, because Iboy actually wasn't level 6 at the start of that exchange. He got it from hovering around mid-wave and catching that experience. So they had level advantage. They have heavy item advantage for both Jhin and Graves. And it looks like BLG's still going to want to posture to take this fight.
Hong is going to be the one that starts this one out, but Mark with a very good flash double knock-up here. Even better coming out from Fofo as the shockwave lands onto 2. A heal has to be used, and both sides trying to disengage out of the situation. A 4-man sleep incoming from Leyan. Unfortunately for them, no follow-up. Iboy still trying to get the kill onto BiuBiu. He does use the Feather Storm. He does find the kill and trap 2 members of BLG inside that Herald pit. In the meantime, Mark does fall down. It is going to be another kill trade, but Zeka very low health. Leyan goes in with the flash. He does find the kill onto the opposing mid laner. Iboy trying to escape from the situation. So far, it has been 6 members going down. Iboy going to be the 7th. And finally, at the end of all of that action, BLG come out on top. They're going to be the ones that are finally taking away the Herald. That was a super messy fight, and I'm not sure what I make out of that one.
That was all over the place. Honestly, it felt like BLG were the team that were too scattered. They should have won that heavily. We saw in the beginning of the fight, RA found a lot of clutch engages. We see Hung going in, crowd controlling numerous people. Nice 2-man shockwave coming out from Fofo, but they just don't have the damage as we saw from the 4-man sleep. But point is, BLG are going to be able to pick up the Herald, get massive plates on top side, and deny a lot of gold and EXP as well.
Definitely a great win on the side of BLG. We might be seeing even more action incoming. It never really stops here in the LPL, but it does seem like Iboy senses the trap coming from Mark. He is going to back off, and that's going to be first break gold going over to BLG.
The thing, though, is this is what we expect from BLG, right? They're playing around a bot lane that can get early advantage. They do draft heavily for a strong 2v2 in the bottom side, transfer that pressure on the map, pick up a lot of these objectives in the first 15 minutes. The question is, can they keep up the momentum? To where the answer has typically been no. But again, with the draft difference this time, Clement, I have faith. I have faith in BLG.
All right, Lyric showing up strong for the BLG fans here, and I just want to note the kill distribution that went down in that early skirmish. We do have Zeka coming up with 3 kills in that one, and we all know kills being focused onto a burst mage is extremely deadly. How do you think that's going to impact the rest of the game?
I think it's going to be really tough for the members of RA, especially when we talk about, you know, your whole comp is extremely squishy. Nautilus, even, you know, a pseudo tank, very squishy support. Anytime he lands a Scatter of the Week, you could expect a member to just get chunked out outright, or even just straight up solo killed from the ultimate.
Yeah, and we see a lot of attention still being focused onto that mid lane. A Scatter of the Week was dealt out by Zeka, but doesn't find its target, and it looks like both teams are slowly quieting down for the reset. In the aftermath of that great Herald fight, we do see the Infernal Drake going over to Rare Adam, so they are going to have that in their back pocket. And it looks like everything is cooling down. The bottom laners are going back to their respective lanes, but how do you see this sort of panning out? Where is the next flashpoint on this map?
I think
never mind. Zeka actually going in straight away, using the ultimate just for the extra spheres onto the map, gets the Scatter of the Week, and forces out the flash from Fofo. So talking about flashpoints, I guess we see it right away.
Yeah, and BLG just making the plays that are available to them is BiuBiu.
BiuBiu still going in. He does find the target onto Fofo, and a great snipe incoming from Aiinmg. They do force away the mid laner from the tower, but Cube is looking and trying to equalize something here. It is going to be 2 platings going over to BLG, and they're going to be the ones that are taking the advantage and rotating with the priority, going for the bottom side here. We do see some more action coming in from Leyan, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to continue with this one.
I expect to see BLG to continuously make a similar play to what we just saw. They've unlocked the map on top side. Their bot lane is going to continuously push. So it's very easy for both BiuBiu and Aiinmg and Mark to push in, rotate towards that mid lane, and you can even kind of entrap them from coming from behind with the Gragas. Gragas is an extremely good diver with the flash body slam into the casket. So for BLG, get the resets off. Look to go back to your respective lanes, and I think just try to set up a similar play again, keep control of the enemy jungle, and just kind of wait out for the next Drake or Herald to come up.
The advantage definitely still being in BLG's favors. You mentioned the tower dive that they can execute, especially when they have these pushing lanes on the map right here. So it definitely seems like Rare Atom are going to be on the defensive footing right here now. And just taking a look at their items currently, they are very far behind in the Mythic department, especially on Iboy's end. He's down in CS. He's very far down in the takedowns. And looks like they're going to have to swap around Iboy towards the middle lane just to make sure that he can pick up some extra farm where he is going to be less perturbed by the BLG members. And they're just so far behind right now. They're bleeding objectives all over the map.
Yeah, they're trying to make a play in the mid lane since they do kind of anticipate that the enemy went towards bot side as Renekton did spot them out. Still, Zeka very safe, has the phase rush, has the flash. But going back to your item discussion, I also want to highlight the fact that we got the Gale Force coming out from Graves rather than the Immortal Shield, though. I think it was a very good buy against the sort of composition RA has. It's not very, like, bruiser focused, not very all-in. So keeping with the movement speed coming from the Mythic passive to keep kiting out the members of RA is going to be...
Ooh, BiuBiu does go for a body slam into it, but is the Shockwave able to get them out of that? However, Zeka on the side able to get the Scout of the Week as well, so Fofo does go down. It's a 2-for-1 trade so far for BLG as they continue to push forward. Another Scouter of the Week is in the books right here. Can they actually find it? Leyan able to flash over the spheres and walk out of that one, but still a very strong win incoming for BLG as they mop up 2 members on the top side. Again, Iboy still going in for the fight. Does have to have the ultimate force out of him. Flashes over, Gale forces over the Raptor wall right there to keep himself safe. And BLG finding another win in the mid lane.
Yep, unfortunately, Aiinmg not having the best prediction coming out with those shots, but still forces Iboy off the turret. Did deny, it looked like at least a few CS, and BLG having complete control of the map thus far. Another thing that I find very interesting about this game is, again, Cube was supposed to be that pressure point for the side of RA, but with the fact that they are so behind, even something like the Gore Drinker, which obviously extremely strong on Renekton, it should keep you alive to get a second set of spell rotation so you can sustain through a fight and kind of just be that nice survivability tank. BLG are so far ahead, I don't even think he survives past that first Gore Drinker active. He's just dead outright.
Definitely agree with you. No amount of Call the Meeks is going to keep this Renekton from becoming a purse on the side of BLG. And we just saw an uncontested Drake go over to Meteor. All the lanes are being pushed in on the side of Rare Atom. And it looks like another tower going down. So just not a lot of answers coming in from Rare Atom. They know that there's likely some members hiding on the top side here. So Iboy not willing to walk up to the tower either. And the full map is going over to BLG.
It's something I love about their composition is the fact that they have Gragas plus Alistar, and both of these champions both work in tandem to not only be engagers or heavy divers onto the backline, but also have that versatility to be kind of peelers and disengage. So BLG are just kind of showing the flexibility in their composition. They're threatening these dives. They're kiting out team fights. They're playing around their carries. It's all very clean, which is kind of surprising when you think that, hey, the gold advantage is only 2K, but it feels much bigger than that.
We have talked about this pregame though. BLG's big test is always post 25 minutes. Despite their losing record, they've actually kept ahead of their opposition all this time up until the 25-minute mark. They always get the first 2 Drakes, but it's the third one that really trips them up. Do you see this being the case in this game? Do you think that BLG still have a chance to kind of fall into the same traps that they've faced in their previous series?
I don't think they should. We could say, sure, RA has a good scaling element on their side, right, with the Orianna and the Xayah. I do think they dropped the ball with going the full damage Lilia when you didn't need it, and you could have just made her the heal bot to enhance their scaling even more. But it does feel like BLG are so far ahead on the key members that they should even be able to start something like a, 25-minute Baron, force a turn onto the side of RA, win out a team fight, and kind of balloon their gold advantage. So I want to see more decisive, and I'd say higher risk plays coming out from BLG that shouldn't really be high risk if they can kind of operate correctly.
Well, BRG, RA are making a push onto the mid lane, as we see Aiinmg preemptively using the curtain call, trying to slow Hong down as Zeka comes into the fight. Mark has a very good engage from the backside, but able to be flashed away. Aiinmg still finds the snipe onto Hong, so that's not going to save them right there. And they are pushing down mid lane with a Herald in hand from Meteor, making a very strong play here in the mid side. They also have the top lane wave pushing in, so a lot of options open for BLG.
Yep, and this is also why we don't see a lot of Nautilus, right? Nautilus got a lot of nerfs throughout 2020 towards the end of the season. He's not as tanky as the likes of Alistar, Leona. He actually struggles a lot in those lane matchups, and it feels like he's a very hard time to get going, but we keep seeing this ping pong as Aiinmg gets caught out.
Oh, and the stun comes in for Cube. Finally, Leyan does find a kill onto the top side, and they're walking straight into a Baron play at 20-minute mark. We've seen this happen a lot of times, but it's a very fast Baron.
Clement, they didn't do it. I think they should have done it, Clement. You have the Lilia. You've talked a lot about the Leandries. Lilia onto the Baron. You have the Xayah as well. It's felt like you were behind. I would love to see them go for this sort of play, but instead,
they don't go for it, and Mark is going to be the one that forces some action right here. They do find a WQ combo onto Cube, but this is just more of a defensive play coming out from BLG. Rare Adam are going to be rewarded with that top lane tower. Wait a minute, Zeka actually uses the teleport to do a cutoff here. Meteor does find a flank onto the backside as well, so they do take down Iboy, get both of his summoners, and that play was turned around on its head, as now BLG are going to do a fork in the mid lane and potentially have an open Baron play too. Leyan. He's actually being blinded, but is able to walk away with the Pran stacks as he does find some damage on a Meteor. He's going to be able to take down this Herald as well. However, BiuBiu is still looking for the play. They're looking for that veal meat coming in here. Is BiuBiu going to be able to find the explosive cask? Unfortunate aiming from Aiinmg, no pun intended, but he misses all 3 shots, and Leyan walks away with his life.
Yeah, I think BLG could have been a bit more decisive there and just gone for that play. You have both Mark and BiuBiu there. BiuBiu had flash as well, so I feel like that dive could have very easily been enacted. Maybe not feeling confident because Zeka was catching top wave, and they technically don't know how far out of base the rest of the RA members are. We've highlighted Leyan isn't very durable. He does have the Zanya, so maybe he could have bought some time. But with the fact that BLG already have their double collectors coming out, it definitely feels like that was a play that could have been made. But we're going to go straight into the replay, Clement. And they are able to catch out Iboy. Very typical Iboy, kind of being too far forward somewhere where he shouldn't. And they just, again, they have so much burst damage at this point in the game, he's just deleted.
Yeah, great flanking war being placed down by BLG in the mid lane, and Cube is actually caught out here between 3 members. He is going to be tagged up by the captivating audience. Doesn't go over the wall from the explosive cast, so he is able to walk away right here. Still holds onto his Gourd Drinker as well. Not really anything able to do onto Cube, but in the meantime, BLG do break their 3rd Drake curse. They're able to take that one down, and Rare Adam are the ones scrambling across the map to find something of a consolation prize. They do push into the top lane tower, do get some minions, but that looks like it's all they're gonna get.
And the thing is, right, the Cloud Drake stacking in the Soul is going to mean a lot for some of the members on BLG. Alistar really loves that. Syndra likes that quite a bit. But the problem is, when we talk about, hey, the way that RA does have these scaling threats, even if their teamfight kind of structure and formation doesn't interact well in the BLG's comp, I still don't want this to go down to like a 50-50 teamfight in the late game. We need to see BLG making, I'd say, more risky, more decisive plays, force the Baron. You have great turn from both Alistar and Gragas, and start ballooning this gold lead.
Looks like that's exactly what they're doing. They're going to be setting up on the Baron side right here. Already all 5 members onto this top side. They're clearing out all the vision. Rare Adam is being pushed so far back. It doesn't feel like there's anything they can do in this situation. And BLG are just going to be setting up for those potential dive plays, as we do see Aiinmg open up and the target being thrown onto Leyan, but he does have the Zhonya's to keep himself alive. It does look like actually BiuBiu being the one in trouble here. He falls down, and it is a 5v4 for Rare Atom as they become the hunter in this one. They're going to chase away BLG and push down their mid lane tower.
Clement, I don't understand. Zeka was top lane, and you're forcing this play around mid, and then you're even separated from some of the rest of your members. You're focusing the person who has the Zhonya's hourglass. I feel like a lot of the decision-making and coordination in that play didn't make a lot of sense.
The front line from BLG definitely felt like they went in a little bit too far, and just looking at Leyan, he didn't even have to burn a flash in that one, so he's still holding on to all of his survivability. However, BLG are going for round 2. They're taking your advice. They're going for the risky plays. They're going to start a 3-man Baron, and so far it looks like Rare Atom are a little bit slow on the play. They do use the teleport onto Cube to chase this one away, and BLG think better about their adventures. They're going to be hightailing it out of here, leaving the Baron play alone, and Rare Atom are going to be the ones still coming into this river, clearing out all the vision. They're going to stabilize the map.
The problem now is there was a point in this game, right, where you had item advantage on the side of BLG. You had double collector finished. Xayah didn't have that second item coming out yet. Zhonya's wasn't done for Leyan. You could have abused that timing and that spike to force a fight in your favor. But now, with some of the passive gold you've given over to RA, with, you know, the kills you've kind of inted over, the fact that they've just been able to start collecting waves in both mid, top, and bot, it feels like we're a lot more on even footing now in terms of itemization.
I did lose you for just a while right there, Lyric, so I am going to have to continue, just assuming that this is going to be a solo cast from this point. Sorry for...
Don't worry, Clement Chu, I'm here.
Oh, you're back, you're back. That's great. We lost you for just 2 seconds right there. It did seem like you were talking about the setup for BLG. Can you give us a quick recap of your thoughts on this play? But never mind, Meteor actually does find Fofo into the top side. He cannot dive away from the shockwave, but it doesn't matter. He still finds a solo kill, and this is going to open up a lot of plays for BLG. Aiinmg, firing down onto Leyan. Leyan is caught out by the WQ combo over the wall. They're able to find 2 on BLG's side, and they are going in for more. BiuBiu does fall down, but it does force 2 flashes from the bottom lane of Rare Atom to go over the wall. Cube actually going in, finding one more back, and this is going to be a 3-on-2 situation. So the Baron play probably not on the cards just yet for BLG, but they do find themselves a very sizable gold advantage.
And the best part is it's happening right before the Drake is about to come up, so potentially should be able to get those resets off and start getting vision set in the bottom side and get that nice Cloud Soul.
You know, nobody's actually that happy to have a Cloud Soul, but hey, you take whatever you get. We do see the pings coming out from BLG. The members are all heading down right there. And once again, I think this is a lane allocation problem that we've been seeing from Rare Atom a lot of times. I think you did mention it during the sort of disconnect right there as well, but it seems like every time Rare Atom sends someone into the top side, they're getting caught out.
Yeah, and it kind of goes with the way Rare Atom's comp functions, right? They need to get pressure as a 5-man unit. They need their front line Hung and Cube walking.
I'm sorry
forward.
to cut you off once again, but BiuBiu does find a 3-man explosive cast onto the side of Rare Atom. But a great shockwave incoming from Fofo. He's going to wipe that play away, and BLG are in a very awkward position. They're on the wrong side of the map with Hung chasing down Mark. He is able to use the scuttle for a getaway, and the fate of this Dragon Soul hangs in the balance as both sides reposition, the scuttle being in a very awkward position in the tug of war, but Aiinmg is the one that is able to take that away, and Zeka finds a perfect scatter of the week over the wall. He snipes out the jungler. It is going to be a 5v4, but Hong on the other side, Mark on the other side is found by the Crocodile, and this one is going right down to the wire. Meteor does secure the Dragon Soul, but the team fight is still ongoing. We're going to see BiuBiu go down right here. Maybe not. Meteor actually able to use his damage and disengage the rest of the members from Rare Atom. Aiinmg still trying to find some sniping plays, but it is Iboy that's going to pick up the kill onto BiuBiu. Zeka still going, dodges out on the clean cuts. The fight is still ongoing because BLG are on the wrong side of the map. How is this one going to end up? There's so much tension. The double AD carries on the side of Rare Atoms, though. It does seem like they have enough damage, they have enough HP at this point to kind of dissuade Rare Adam from chasing them on, but we are going to see a teleport incoming from Fofo. There's no love lost between this couple. He wants that kill onto Meteor. Unfortunately, he isn't going to find it. So as the dust settles and as all those crazy kills finally do settle down, we see BLG with the Cloud Soul and a huge trade of kills back and forth, but, you know, not really that decisive of a play outside of the objective.
First of all, Clement, I have no idea how BiuBiu survived so long and how Aiinmg didn't go down at all. They were just sitting on like 5% HP in the pit. We are going to get a replay. Zeka, again, using these long-range pick tools, is able to burst out Leyan immediately. Mark in a bit of an unfortunate position. Cube did wrap around those, so very smart play coming out from him. And then we're going to see, okay, BLG in a bit of a dicey position. RA are a lot more healthy. They are able to all in, but it doesn't matter. Meteor picks up the Drake, and again, just keep your eyes aiming with the flash away. And BiuBiu, no one able to walk forward with Zeka zoning out Iboy. Sadly, he doesn't hit the scatter of the week. BiuBiu's still in a bit of an awkward position, does just kind of walk into that blade caller, but still, I'd say some nice mechanical plays coming out from both sides. Really good pressure coming out from Zeka to prevent Iboy from walking forward.
I guess my question for that play was the setup for BLG. It seemed a little bit wonky for them to be ambushing on the enemy side of the jungle. I will have to be very cautious about these talking points because they're playing 10-man ARAM right here, and the fight could start at any moment. Both sides are deciding to sort of back off and let cooler heads prevail as they reset the fight there. But I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about that setup coming in from BLG? It was very unorthodox.
Yeah, I'm less worried as I shut up as an engage happens. Never mind, Clement. We got baited. We got baited, Clement.
I'm so curious on why these two teams are going here, but Leyan actually uses the flash to try to find a sleep here. Hung is not waiting for a second chance. He's going straight in with the ultimate as well, but BLG don't look like they're taking a lot of damage. A lot focused onto Cube as they do take down the alligator right here, and our Rare Adam, despite the ones that are willing to go and start the fight, are the ones that have to back out too. A bit of a head scratcher right here. What are your thoughts on this engage? It seems like they're kind of giving over the Baron to BLG.
Yeah, RA shouldn't be the team that should feel pressure. They shouldn't feel like they're on a timer, right? They're the team that is kind of scaling better. As we see, the longer the game goes on, the more useless members like BiuBiu and Aiinmg really feel in these fights. I can understand the engage coming from Hung. He thought he found the dredge line onto BiuBiu, but the flash from Leyan felt a little bit too desperate for where the state of the game is at.
Yeah, that was just a bit of a head scratcher right here, but BLG are not going to start the Baron off of that. They did have a 5v4 advantage, but they do think better of that. They're going to go back and reset most of the wave situations. And just talking about you saying that, Gragas is actually going to descale into the late game, what do you make of this build? We did hear you talk about the tier and the tank build coming in from the Gragas, but what is this build trying to accomplish?
Yeah, we've seen players like Nuggery pick up this build where you pick up the tier for in lane, where it gives you a lot of ability to continuously like spam out things like your barrels, but you're still indexing into being that core frontliner when you do have enough burst damage coming out from the likes of the Graves and the Syndra. The thing I don't really like about it in this game thus far is he really doesn't have almost any magic resist, so members like Leyan and Fofo just absolutely blow him up.
Can share that sentiment as both sides go on to the Baron setup. Once again, BLG are the ones with the priority onto the top side in the mid lane, so they're able to sweep this area entirely clear, and it's going to be a Rare Adam that have to poke into the river. Again, we see Hong doing his due diligence, sweeping out the wards on this side, while BLG are just waiting and setting up their waves once more. This is going to be a very, very tense moment, and potentially one of the rare instances that we're going to see BLG finally come out with a team fight win. How do you think this fight should be set up?
I definitely think we need to see just BLG playing from 2 angles rather than 3 like they did in that last one with Zeka on one side of Dragon, Mark on the opposite side of their own jungle. Play off 2 angles again. Use these long-range pick tools to try to